Have you ever built a tower out of blocks only to watch it come crashing down? Well, that's kind of what happened to ancient empires over and over again. Assyria was conquered by Babylon. Babylon fell to Persia. Persia and Greece were taken over by Alexander the Great. And when Alexander died, his whole empire broke into pieces like a puzzle being taken apart. But today, we're going to learn about an empire that was different. It was bigger, stronger, and lasted for hundreds and hundreds of years. Even 1,000 years after it ended, people were still speaking its language, reading its books, and copying its government. This empire was called Rome. Let's find Rome on a map. If you start from Greece and travel west across the sea, you'll find a piece of land that looks just like a boot. Can you see it? This boot-shaped land is called Italy, and it's a peninsular. That means it sticks out into the water, almost like a finger pointing into the Mediterranean Sea. And right there, in the hills of Italy, a tiny village was born. That village would grow up to become the most powerful empire the ancient world had ever seen. But how did it all begin? Well, the Romans told an amazing story.
Once upon a time, there was a great king named Numitor who had twin grandsons, two strong-headed baby boys named Romulus and Remus. But King Numitor had a big problem. His younger brother was wicked and greedy. His elder brother plotted against Numitor and stole his throne. The new king looked at those innocent baby twins and got a terrible idea. "Those babies might grow up to take my crown," he said with fear in his eyes. "Go put them in the Tiber River." A servant took the babies down to the Russian river, but she felt sorry for the little boys. Instead of leaving them to drown, she gently placed them in a basket and pushed it out into the current. The basket floated away, carrying the twins toward their destiny. The basket floated down the river, bobbing on the waves until it got caught in the roots of a big fig tree at the water's edge. The babies were scared and hungry. They started to cry, but someone heard them. A wolf, a mother wolf with chops of her own, heard the babies crying. She followed the sound until she found the basket with two tiny humans inside. Now you might think a wolf would be dangerous, but this wolf felt something special. She felt pity for those hungry little babies, so she tucked the basket up onto the bank and brought it back to her den. At there, she raised Romulus and Remus alongside her own wolf cubs as if they were her very own children.
One day, the sharp hand was walking through the woods looking for a lost lamb. He heard a strange sound, a coo, then a gurgle coming from some bushes. Curious, he pushed the branches aside and couldn't believe his eyes. There were two fat, happy baby boys playing right there among the wolf cubs without a care into the world. The sharpen and his wife had no children of their own, so they took the boys home and raised them to be tall, strong, handsome young men. Romulus and Remus never forget where they came from. When they grow up, they had a dream. When Romulus and Remus were grown, they went back to the fig tree where their basket had landed so many years ago. They climbed the hills nearby and looked around. "This is the perfect place to build a town," they said to each other. "A town atop these 7 hills would be strong and hard to attack." So they began to build their city. Romulus declared himself the king of this new town and took courage of building a great wall around it. "This wall will keep us safe," he declared proudly. "Anyone who climbs over my wall will be punished." But there was a problem. Remus was getting angry. Remus thought to himself, "We will build this town together. Why should Remus be the only ruler? I want to be the leader too." So Remus walked up to the wall and jumped right over it. "How kind of wall is that?" he laughed mockingly. "Anyone can climb over it. How can you keep the town safe with such a weak wall?" Romulus was so angry that something terrible happened. In his rage, he drew his sword and killed his own brother. Then, standing alone, Romulus named the town Roma after himself, became Rome's very first king.
Romulus was just the first of 7 kings of Rome. These kings fought with other Italian tribes and took over more and more land. The most important tribe was called the Etruscans. The Etruscans were amazing. They loved music and art. They traded with the Greeks and taught the Romans so many things. From the Etruscans, the Romans learned to dress in special robes called togas with purple borders. The purple showed everyone how important the king was. The Etruscan kings also carried something called the fasces, a bundle of rods with an axe blade. This showed that the king had the power to punish wrongdoers. The Romans loved the symbol so much that even today, you can see it in American courtrooms and in old coins.
But after 7 kings, the people of Rome decided something important. The kings had too much power. They didn't want to live in a monarchy anymore. That's a country where one king is in charge of everything. Do you remember Athens, the Greek city where people voted on the laws? Well, Rome wanted something similar, but Rome didn't become exactly like Athens. In Rome, only rich and powerful men called patricians could have a say in the government. And instead of one king, they chose 2 leaders called consuls. The Romans thought this was smart. The 2 consuls would watch each other so neither one could become too powerful. And that's how Rome began, with the legend of twin brothers, a kind wolf, and a city built on 7 hills. From a tiny village, Rome would grow into one of the greatest empires the world has ever seen. Its roads, its laws, and its ideas still shape our world today. Next time, we'll discover how Rome grew even more powerful and conquered lands all around the Mediterranean Sea. Until then, remember, even the mightiest empires started with just a dream.